What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Drew Report. It's week 4 in the JFL. Some breaking news. You'll see I'm wearing my Randy Moss jersey. Might be the last time you ever see me wearing it because the word is that Randy Moss is getting traded to the Minnesota Vikings. All I have to say is they better really get something for him. I'm really kind of getting tired of the Patriots trading their known commodities for just draft picks and never know what you're going to get. They even get a number 1 draft pick. Who knows what they're going to actually end up getting. They'll trade it for a second and a third, or next year's number 1 draft pick. All this stuff, you just really never know. So I'll wait, hold off on condemning the trade until I see what they actually get. But at first glance, I'm not really pleased about it. The good news here is there is one person who's in possession of first place now in the JFL, and it's me, the commissioner. I am now 4-0, 1/3 of the way to a perfect season, and that's what I'm aiming for here. I think it's actually already a foregone conclusion. I really can't see any of you beating me, especially not this week, where I am also the stud of the week. I beat Fuji 101-81, knocking off the only other undefeated team this week. In all fairness to Fuji, it really wasn't all that fair. He did have AP and Miles Austin out this week, so he wasn't able to get much done. Still pretty respectable, getting 81 points. Michael Vick went out pretty early for me, only got me 4 points. But Rashad Mendenhall and Antonio Gates both got over 20 points. I got decent production out of Reggie Wayne and LaShawn McCoy. Not looking so good for next week with Vick out and McCoy likely out. So we'll see what happens. But right now, stud of the week looking pretty good. Next up is not mild upset this week. Dave McNeil beating EP 83-82. EP actually had Tony Romo out this week, so didn't have a starting quarterback. Starting Matt Hasselbeck didn't do it for you. I think you only got around 4 points. So that didn't really make up the difference. Allowed enough for McNeil to squeak out the victory. McNeil, 20 points from Schaub, 15 points from Donald Driver, and a big 28 points from the San Diego defense. That's huge when you can get the amount of points from defenses like that. That's becoming a big thing this year, is having these defenses and special teams score a high number of points. I think that kept EP in it was Arian Foster. I believe he is the number 1 producing fantasy running back this year. So good pickup by EP. Won his first 2, lost his last 2, but I think he's going to be coming back. Next up, this week's kick in the dick. Kevin losing to Chris, 100-74. Now, I know it didn't look like a close game, but going into that Monday night's game, Kevin had a slight lead and had Brandon Marshall going against the New England secondary, and Chris had New England's defense going against what was supposed to be a pretty good Miami offense. Chris also benched Green Bay's defense, who was going against the Detroit Lions in favor of New England's defense. So you had to wonder what he was thinking there, but it obviously worked out. New England's D getting 34 points for Chris. Had a blocked punt for a touchdown, a blocked field goal for a touchdown, a pick 6, I think 3 total interceptions. So it was a really good day for the Patriots defense, getting 34 points. So congratulations to Chris. Next up is the Lizard Kings mildly beating Danielle 76-75. For Danielle, Kyle Lawton's turning out to be a pretty good quarterback, had 25 points. The thing that killed you was Randy Moss having 0 points. So, I mean, who knows what's going to be happening with Moss now. I wonder if he's going to get more looks in Minnesota with Brett Favre really having no one else to throw to. So, it'll be interesting. I'm curious about that. For Dave, Tom Brady only got 12 points. The fact that Randy Moss got 0 kind of made up for that. But, I mean, it was just a running game this past week. You should be seeing more out of Brady. But you did get 27 points out of Danian Tomlinson, which is huge because Tomlinson was only thought to be a Sean Green backup this year, but he's turned out to be the number 1 running back for the Jets. Steve Smith from Carolina only getting you 1 point. Might have to cut your ties there and figure out how to start somebody else. Let's see. The dud of the week. Jay beating Tommy 91-59. It's not even funny making fun of Tommy for his fantasy skills anymore. Making fun of Tommy for being bad at fantasy is like making fun of a blind person for being bad at reading. It's just not funny. I mean, 59 points. Tommy, I think my bench got 59 points. It's really, really pathetic. For Jay, Maurice Jones-Drew's finally doing it for you. Phillip Rivers, I know you don't like him, but he is doing it for you every week. He's one of the most consistent QBs. Now, Pitts only did 6 points for you. But, I mean, they were playing a good Baltimore offense. I think you'll see them scoring a little bit more like they did earlier in the season. For Tommy, Drew Brees was supposed to be the only saving grace for your team. He's not really doing all that well. He's doing good, but not all that well. Hopefully you'll see more out of him. You do have some good players, so maybe it'll turn around. We'll have to see. Let's see. Predictions for this week. Chris is heavily favored over EP, but EP is getting his quarterback back. However, Chris does have Deshaun Jackson. He's not going to see as many throws because Michael Vick's out. That does hurt him. But still, I think Chris should be able to take this one, but I wouldn't bet so much on it. I think it's going to be a really close game. Jay's favored over Dave by a significant amount. I think that's fair. Who knows what's going to be going on with Brady with Moss out next week. Brady's actually going to bye next week, so that's going to hurt Dave right there. So I can see Jay taking this one by a decent amount. Kevin's favored over Tommy, 90 to 82. I'll buy that. I mean, Tommy's going to have to show me something before I start picking him ever again, so I think Kevin will take that one. I'm actually an underdog to Dave McNeil this week by a decent amount. I mean, I can actually see why I'm undefeated, but I don't have Michael Vick going. I won't have LaShawn McCoy going because he has a broken rib. Jeremy Maclin was getting most of his throws from Vick and didn't get anything from Kevin Cobb, so I'm not sure I can start him. So it might be a little bit difficult. I'm going to have to see what happens. Might turn out to be a good game. If you're going to play me, this is the week to play me. And then Fuji is a slight underdog to Danielle. I'll make that one a pick 'em. I have no idea who's going to win. Based on Fuji's record, you got to kind of assume it's going to be him. But I think Danielle's due for a decent game. Some of her plays are starting to look a little bit better, so I'll pick her on the upset special. That's about it, everybody. Hopefully, by the time you see this, we'll have a little bit more news on Moss. But until then, next week we're going to have an on-location Drew Report in San Francisco where me and the wife are going to be celebrating our anniversary. So go Pats in the bye week. We'll cheer for San Francisco this week. And I'll see you next week on the Drew Report.